Hello YouTube viewers, my name is Brandon and this is Toronto Mod Shop. In this video I'm going to be showing you how to refinish your wipers. Now let's jump out and take a look at what we're going to need.
So here's what you're going to need to complete this project. You're going to need degreaser, same degreaser I always use, it's Auto Magic Red Hot. It's diluted I think 2 to 1, 2 parts water, 1 part degreaser. It's good for everything. Wax and grease remover to clean, well, you can clean between coats or whenever you need it, something that's a little bit stronger. Primer, paint, and clear for what it's for. Wrench, well, in my case I need the 14mm wrench to take off the wipers because it's only being held by 1 bolt. You'll see that in a second. To loosen any loose paint you'll need a wire brush, a little baggie to put my 2 little bolts in, or nuts in, not bolts. Scuff pad, Scotch-Brite pad, whatever you want to call it. This is from 3M. It's a medium to fine grit body scuff pad. You'll need a few different grits of sandpaper. You can use paper, or you can use block like this. And this is just a rougher scuff pad to loosen loose paint or clean it up at the beginning. And lastly, you're going to need this to tape off anything you don't want to get paint on. Alright, let's take a look at what it looks like right now. Wipers right now. As you can see, I'll just show you the one because it's closer. Just being held on by a bolt. And they could use some love. So what I'm going to do, refinish them black. Might even paint the little nuts black too. Or maybe gold, we'll see. Alright, so let's take them off. And let's get started. They look like when they're off. Now you guys can see better that they need to be refinished. All it was 2 14mm nuts, and now they're off. This process can also be done with it on the car. You just put newspaper under it, tape it off differently, but I'm taking them off. It'll be easier for me, but if you want to leave it on, the process from here on is the same. Alright, so let's just get everything together. And they're on your workbench. You can disassemble them. Alright, so let's disassemble. As much as assembled and taken apart, you're going to move on to the next step, which is trying to take off all the loose paint and evening out the surface. For that you're going to need different grits of sandpaper, different scuff pads, and a wire brush. Some of you might use different things. This is what I'm going to be using. You can also use a knife to scrape off anything, but that might mark up the metal below, so I'm going to just use this stuff here. Alright, so let's take off all the loose paint. It's been loosened. Now it's time to hit it with all the different sandpapers and scuff pads and try and get as much paint off as possible. All the paint off and sanded it and everything. All I use so far, that's all I'm going to use. Got the paint down to where it's smooth and level. The metal is pitted, so if you look at, there's still spots of paint, but that's filling it in. So I'm leaving those on. A couple of spots need to be hit with a rust converter. The rest of it will just get primed and then eventually painted. All I used for this was a razor knife and 2 grits of sandpaper. Get it to this. Now it's ready for rust conversion. And primed and wiped down with the wax and grease remover. Now it's time to rust convert the spots that needs to be rust converted. The thing I did was hit it with this, which is a rust reformer, so that any rust spots will stop rusting, and that now I can prime and paint over this. Reformer's drying on those. I'm going to mask off these. So what you're going to want to do is mask off the rubber part and leave the rest of the metal and plastic exposed to be painted. The actual wiper blades have been masked off and rust converted, which I'm also using as a pre-primer of some sort. And these are dry, so now these can get their first coat of primer. I'm only putting 2 coats. Sorry, my dog, she's making noise. So far I have 2 medium coats of rust reformer on everything. You don't have to coat the whole thing in rust reformer, you can coat just the rust spots, but I wanted to keep the surface as uniform as possible, so I did the whole wiper. And then I also put a medium coat and a light coat of the Duplicolor Sandwell primer. Next I'll put 1 more coat of primer, which you guys won't see, and then I'll move on to paint, which is where you're going to see it next. Change my mind, I'm going to show you guys it between the last coat of primer and the paint. This is 2 coats of primer, well, maybe 3 I think. Maybe a heavy and 2 light, or a medium and 2 light. Just look at your piece and make sure it's not running. it looks like you could put a little bit more, then put a little bit more. If not, then don't, because you don't want to risk the runs. At this point, you're probably hungry, so now's a good time while you're waiting to have some pizza. Pizza's my favorite car snack, if you can call it a snack. Alright guys, so now that you've put your primer on, this is what it should look like after one coat of base coat. I'm using Duplicolor acrylic enamel, gloss black. That's the color. Like I said, this is one coat. This is about a medium coat. I'm going to have to wait about 5 minutes until I put my next coat. Wait times vary between paints. Probably also varies between parts depending on how thick a coat you put on, so wait until it's actually dry and then put your next coat. Okay, so the base coats are done on the actual wiper blades because I'm able to flip them over because of the way that they're attached. They attach with a little peg, which you'll see when I put them together later. I'm able to paint both sides at once. But with these, with the arms, I have to paint one side, then wait for it to dry, and then flip it. So those are ready. They're just drying, and they're done. Put clear on now. These I have to wait for. Paint the other side, and then put clear. So all of the base coat is done on every piece. So far that has one coat. I might put another light coat just to touch up little areas. Those have a total of, I think, two medium coats. And there's one medium. So I might put more on that, might not. We'll see how that turns out. But yeah, next time you see it, it'll be cleared. Well, at least the first coat of clear. First coat of clear, you're going to want to put a medium. Well, I'm putting a medium. You can see how you want to put it. Like I said, see how it's going on. If you think you can put more, but don't risk any runs. Alright guys, so that's all the base coat done. This here has 2 medium coats, and that over there has 2 medium coats. Can't really see them that well. I'll go closer in a second. But now I've put 1 medium coat of clear on both sides of that and on the top of this. So that needs 1 more medium coat in both places. And then this needs another medium coat, and then it'll be flipped, and then 2 more coats on the bottom. Let's give you guys a quick look up close. And once it's finished, you guys will see it better. Now that I'm thinking about it, I probably should have done it with satin clear, or matte clear. But whatever, it's gloss clear for now. If I want to make it satin after, I'll just sand it with 1000 grit, quick sand, and then spray it with satin clear. That'll be in the future, when it's done and the body's painted. Alright, so now let's let it dry for 5 more minutes, and then put another coat of clear. Now it's been clear coated. Now I just have to wait for it to dry, and then I can assemble it. So far I've put on, I believe I don't remember exactly how many coats of each thing, but I put on the rust converter, put on primer, put on the base coat, and now I've put on clear. I'll give this about 10 minutes until I can pick it up and put it on the bench here. And then I gotta give it another 10 minutes after that, and then I can handle it and put the 2 pieces together and bolt it onto the car so you guys can see how it looks. While this was all being done, on the side I also painted the 2 little nuts with gold. It looks really good. You'll see that when I put it on the car. Now it's all off the floor and up here. A little bit of paper got on the wiper arms, so I had to peel that paper off carefully and then put a little bit more paint and a little bit more clear. That's just drying now. And over there I realized I got some paint on the actual rubber, but in my case the rubber's pretty much shot. I'm going to have to replace it anyways. In your case, if you're reusing your rubber, then make sure it's taped off properly. My tape started sticking. It's still over there. You can see the white lines. The tape stuck to the paint that was on the newspaper. But in my case, it doesn't matter if I got paint on the rubber, because I'm replacing mine. So, alright, so now give this 15 minutes or so, maybe 20 to dry. Then I'll reassemble it, put it on the car. We'll see how it's fully dry. I'm going to end up putting, if you see that's paper, like the newspaper got stuck to it when I laid it on its back like this to paint that side. It wasn't fully dry, so paper stuck to there, paper stuck to there, right there. So what I'm going to do is take a 800 grit or 1000 grit sandpaper and sand that off, and then I'm going to spray it with this I'm going to spray the arms with a satin clear, because I think it'll look better. And then those I'll just leave gloss clear. And then, like I said before, the little nuts are gold, but you'll see that when it goes back together. Alright, if you don't, you guys might not be doing this step, but I am. So, see you guys in a second. Just the top surfaces of the arms with this. It's 1000 grit 3M wet or dry. I use it dry. There, so now it's smooth for the most part. That's high up, but I'm not sure. I can't get that down, so one speck is fine. Same with this one. Sanded it smooth. That's a low spot, or a high spot, so now it's time to just put a quick medium coat of the black paint, the Duplicolor acrylic enamel. Let that dry for 10 minutes. Put the satin clear and then leave it alone for about 30 minutes, and then I'll put it on the car. After the first coat of the satin clear, I did the clear coat on both the arms and the actual wiper blades, because if you look there, I don't know why, but those turned out kind of wrinkly. So I decided I'd just do that satin as well. Alright, so time for another coat in about 5 to 10 minutes. And then I'll leave them for 15 and then put them on the car. I know I said that it's one more step and then put it on the car. Probably said it about 4 times already, but I keep putting stuff on to make it look better. The satin clear, I realized isn't satin. I don't know why. The can says satin, but it came out gloss still. So I put on some of this, which is color shift, so it's purpley blue color shifting paint. If you look at there, now the wipers are sort of like a bluey, purpley pearlescent. Whatever, when the car's finished it'll look good. So I had a little bit left over from a guitar I painted, so threw some of that on. Now I gotta wait 5 minutes, put one more coat of clear, nice medium to heavy coat, and then I gotta wait half an hour and then put them on. Hopefully this is the last time I say that. Wipers are finished and on the car. Yeah, let me just give you guys a nice look in the sun. You can see it's like a purpley blue color shift depending on the light and the angle. So I think that'll look good with the body. Once it's painted the metallic green, it's going to get painted. And then the little gold. We'll go with the little gold accents in the engine bay once the engine is done. Like the engine covers and things will probably end up being gold, so that'll sort of match. Alright guys, thanks for watching. And I'll see you guys in the next DIY. Let me give you guys a quick sneak peek. Next DIY is that strut bar right there. It needs to be adjusted and extended and refinished. Alright, see you guys next time.
Go over the cost of this, because this is, I think they turned out awesome. I can't wait to see them in the sunlight once the car can drive out of the garage. Right now you guys know it doesn't have an engine. But with me, it cost me about, I'd say $15 to $20, because I had some primer and paint and clear and the color shifter stuff and the rust reformer all lying around. So I only really used half a can of each thing and then a little bit of the color shift, like a quarter can. So like I said, 15 to 20 bucks. If you guys are getting all new stuff, it might cost you, I don't know, 20, 25, even $30. But I think it's worth it. So thanks for watching. So I'll see you guys next time.